Chair, we have quorum. You can start.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Youth Commission General Meeting on November 24th, 2025. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming. We have a fair amount of people today, including Councilmember Campos. Thank you for coming. And then a Boy Scout troop. Which troop is this? 610? Okay, perfect. All right, moving on, we're now going to do our call to order. I now call this meeting to order at exactly 6:32 p.m. I will now go through roll call. District 1, Commissioner Deschmuke.
Present.
District 2, Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner Babu.
Present.
District 5, Commissioner Guerrero.
Present.
District 6, Commissioner Canfield.
Present.
District 7, Commissioner Huynh.
Present.
District 9, Commissioner Yu.
Present.
District 10, Commissioner Park.
Present.
And citywide, I am present. All right, we have quorum. We can now move ahead. Item number 2, an action item. We are now going to approve the consent calendar. Is there any discussion of the consent calendar? All right, moving on to approving the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Sanchez motions to approve calendar.
Do we have any seconds?
Commissioner Canfield seconds.
All right, thank you. Please vote on your screens. All right, this motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the next item, we have an informational item. Never mind, we have a presentation.
We do open forum first.
Yes, open forum. Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment on any of the agenda items?
No, we don't.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next item, discussion and action items. First off, we will have a presentation by Councilmember Campos on the Council Liaisons Report.
Hi, good afternoon, Youth Commission. It's so nice to see you all in the council chambers. You all look really good, and I'm excited to be sharing some news. We have a joint meeting. So the City of San Jose and the County of Santa Clara County are going to be coming together on the 10th of December for a joint meeting of the city's Neighborhood Services and Education Committee and the county's Children, Family, and Seniors Committee, where we are going to discuss the Children and Youth Master Plan for the City of San Jose, as well as the Latino Health Assessment for the County of Santa Clara. It's a very important meeting that's going to uplift the work that both of these agencies are doing to support our children. And I would highly encourage you to participate if you're able to watch on Zoom or would like to send in comments ahead of that meeting. It's happening on December 10th. We are also in the midst of an update to our general plan. And so we are hoping for some input from the Youth Commission. My office has been working with our partners in the Planning and Building Department to ensure that our Youth Commission is being reached out to and heard as we're working on updating the general plan. And there is going to be a virtual meeting about the general plan happening on December 15th. And so that is another opportunity to engage and participate as this work ramps up. Just a couple more exciting opportunities for 2026. So we know that our country is turning 250 years as a nation in 2026, and there's an effort to plant, 250,000 daffodils by the end of 2026. And so again, another opportunity for youth commissioners to work with your district council offices. This is an initiative by Beautify San Jose under the Parks and Rec Department. And you can reach out to myself or Councilmember Kamei if you have more information. She is the one who brought this up at our last city council meeting, and she also shared about the Adopt a Storm Drain program. And so that is an initiative that she started in 2024 to ensure that our storm drains are clean and free of debris, which would otherwise go into our creeks and our waterways. And the Adopt a Storm Drain program is a way to incentivize our neighbors to take ownership of the storm drains. You get to give it a name. You are then are going to be helped by your neighbors and making sure that it stays clean. At the end of the day, we know that we have some really big climate goals that the state of California is trying to achieve by 2030. And this is one of the ways that we can take part in those efforts and also spread the word to other schools, other neighbors, because we have many, many storm drains throughout the city that are not claimed by anyone. And there are 4 levels of severity. And I know that there are some in my neighborhood that are highly severe. So I look forward to adopting a storm drain. And I hope that you will all learn more about this program and hopefully encourage some of your colleagues, schools, and neighbors to adopt a storm drain in 2026. So that is my update to the Youth Commission. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here. We know you have so many important things to do, and having you come here for this report really meant a lot to us. Can we get a round of applause, please? Thank you very much once again. Now, do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right. Once again, thank you. And the floor is now open for any commissioners who may have comments or questions. Commissioner Deshmukh?
Would it be possible for the Youth Commission or a YAC to collectively adopt a storm drain, or would you have any information on that?
That's a great question. I would refer that question to Jeff Provenzano. He is our Environmental Services Director. And yeah, I would see if it's okay to do a joint adoption. And if you need support connecting to Jeff, my council office is happy to help make that connection.
Thank you.
Sorry for making you run back down.
No, it's fine. Any other questions?
I think we have another one from Commissioner Canfield.
What's the significance of planting the daffodils specifically? Just curious, if you know.
I don't know why they chose daffodils. I know the significance of trying to achieve 250,000 is commemorating the 250th anniversary.
All right. I think that's all. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And have a good night. All right, moving on, we have another presentation. We have the Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement Department planners, Sanhita Ghoshal and Ruth Guedo. They will be presenting the Envision 2040 general plan for us today.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Ruth Gueto. I am the principal planner with a citywide team, and I oversee the general plan team as well as co-leading the general plan 4-year review, which we will share with you today. And I'm here with Sanhita Ghoshal, who is our supervising planner, and she is overseeing the general plan team as well as the general plan 4-year review.
Thank you, Ruth, and good evening, Commissioners. Sanhita Ghoshal, Supervising Planner of the at the Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement Department. I'm very nervous. So today I'm going to give you an overview of the general plan, what it is and why it matters to us. Let's see. Okay, so the general plan is city's vision and blueprint for the next 20 to 30 years. It articulates the community's values and priorities, and it is developed through significant public outreach and engagement. The document is a state mandated document, and state law also requires that every city includes at least around 8 topics that in their general plan that are listed in the second bullet point here. And as you look at that list of those topic areas, you can see that the community's life, in a community member's life, they're touched by the general plan in any possible ways. Where are the parks located? What kind of parks are available? What are our transportation options, or where are our trails, and what kind of bike lanes we are going to have in the future, or what kind of climate management plans that we are going to adopt, right? So all of them are in the general plan. Also, if you look at all these topics, they're interrelated, and that's the reason why we have them in the general plan. They coexist with each other, and so that we can balance social, environmental, and economic priorities of the community at the same time. The housing element, which is one of these 8 elements, it functions a little bit differently in the sense that it is on a 8-year cycle as opposed to the 20 to 30-year cycle of the general plan. It is also certified, only element that is certified by the state. And so there are certain mandates regarding the housing element. The housing element includes policies and programs for supporting production of housing in San Jose. But the other interesting thing about housing element is it includes a state mandated housing target. And this target, is there for every city, every jurisdiction. San Jose's and every city and jurisdiction has to plan for it in their housing element. For the 2023-2031 cycle, which is the current housing cycle for San Jose, the RHNA target, this target is actually called Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA. And this target for San Jose's current cycle is 62,000 units. All right, so now we are talking about, okay, how do we use the general plan? So as you can see, general plan I just talked about, it's a very broad, high-level document, broad vision. So we need some other tool that has the specifics that helps us implement the general plan. So in the planning department, that document is called the zoning ordinance, which is also the Title 20 of the municipal code. And if I may give an example, for example, the general plan might be saying that let's protect our creeks, whereas the zoning ordinance will say things like, okay, you cannot build within 50 feet of the top bank of a creek. So that's the level of specificity that you can see in a zoning ordinance. You can see on the right-hand side, this picture, gives a little bit of another view of general plan. The left side are like these colors, and the squares, it represents like different parts of San Jose. The black lines are maybe the streets. And so this shows on a very high level where the uses are and how they are related to each other. Whereas in the zoning ordinance, you would be seeing the height and the setback, like exact numbers. So that's, again, gives us the difference between how general plan is used. All right, so every year we prepare an annual report for the general plan, which is also a state mandated report. You can find it on our website, but it's also submitted to the city. And in that, we report on certain indicators of the general plan. These 3 bullet points gives us some of those examples. For example, jobs to employed ratio, what kind of transportation milestones have been reached this year, what kind of, climate related milestones we have reached here, and so forth. Out of these 3, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the jobs to employed employed residents ratio. The reason being that this is a really important indicator of economic and fiscal health of the city. And it reflects basically how many people live and work in San Jose versus how many commute outside elsewhere for jobs. A ratio of 1 is ideal, and general plan's goal is 1.1. However, San Jose's current ratio is 0.79. This basically means that more people commute out of San Jose for employment than people come in, and nighttime population of San Jose is higher than daytime population, and this is called a bedroom community. San Jose is one of the few major cities which is considered as a bedroom community. So this indicator underscores one of the key challenges we face in balancing employment and housing. This chart shows the housing production from 2011, 2012, when the general plan was adopted, till now. If you look at the average production, it's about 2,600. And if I put that in perspective, the RENA goal is 62,000. So if we produced at this rate, it'll take us about 23 years to meet the RENA goal. So this is, again, another challenge that is demonstrated, which is we need to have strategies to up our production of housing to meet those goals. Okay, so this is the land use and transportation diagram, which is the core of the general plan. Again, state mandated document, every city has it. What this document is this map shows is these are city areas of San Jose that are devoted to certain types of use. For example, green represents open space, whereas blues and pinks represent our industrial and commercial areas, the employment areas. And then yellow, which is most of San Jose, different shades of yellow are residential uses. So as you can see, most of San Jose is also actually light yellow, which is single family neighborhood. Again, remember that our, the bigger job concentrations in the Bay Area are north of us in San Francisco, in the peninsula, in the Silicon Valley. And we just talked about how people from San Jose has to commute outside for jobs. So the reason being that we have more land for residential than employment land. And that's one of the ways we can see how these dynamics work together to show different challenges that we have to address. This is another way of seeing the same challenge. This is a pie chart showing the total land use of the city, and see 49% of the city is public, is open space, 37% is residential, out of which actually 80% of that 37% is single family residential, which is very land intensive residential use. And then only 14% is left as commercial or industrial, which is our job producing lands. With that, I'm going to turn back to Ruth, who's going to give the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So Sanhita and other planners and myself are now engaged in what we call the 4-year review, which is looking at ways to make changes to our general plan, and we're going to look at specific metrics and specific targets for change. So why are we making these changes now? We are required every 4 years per our general plan to review this, our long-term roadmap and look at how we're doing in terms of jobs, in terms of housing production, and specifically for this 4-year review, there's sort of 4 key topics we're analyzing. We want to find ways to build more homes, so we want to identify lands for increased residential capacity. We're also looking at what's called missing middle housing, small multifamily housing, again, going from, maybe it doesn't have to be a tower or a single family home, but sort of something in the middle. And then we are also looking at jobs and the resident balance that Sanhita mentioned a few slides back. And lastly, ways to improve urban villages. So increasing residential capacity, more homes. What do we need to do? We need to find a way so that people can build more homes on their existing land. What we're going to do is we're sort of approaching this in 3 ways. One is looking at different areas of the city where we currently don't allow housing, or don't allow more than a single family home, and finding ways to increase density and allow for more of those homes. We have areas throughout our city called urban villages and growth areas, and those are areas that we said where we think we can have both jobs and housing or just have more housing. And it's possible, maybe we missed a few sites near those urban villages or between urban villages. So that's the work that Sanhita and her team are gonna embark on. The other thing is, if you think about that map that we saw a few slides back, there was a lot of yellow. And if you think about the yellow spaces on the map, those are single family neighborhoods. So one house per lot. We want to see how we can allow for a little bit more flexibility in those areas. So maybe it instead of just allowing one, maybe it could allow a duplex or a triplex or even more. So increasing the residential neighborhood areas. That's what the yellow parts of the map are called. And then also just adding more capacity in areas that are either going to be planned very soon for housing and jobs or that have already been planned. Again, we actually moved a lot of residential capacity from these urban village areas into downtown and North San Jose. So we think that there's still essentially room for more growth in these areas. So trying to put housing back in there. Missing middle opportunity housing. So this is, again, looking at housing types that are bigger than a single family home, but smaller than an apartment complex. In this icon, it's sort of everything that's highlighted in yellow, right? A duplex, maybe a triplex, 10-unit apartment, row houses, court homes. Again, looking for ways to allow for a little bit more density where all that yellow is on the map. We're targeting specifically projects that can that will be between 4 and 10 units, and it possibly will mean a new land use designation. So right now we have residential neighborhood and mixed use neighborhood as two examples. Maybe there's something in the middle between those. And we are looking along major transit streets near urban village areas, and we're also considering a citywide option. So anywhere essentially where there's yellow on the map. So jobs, we need to make sure that the city has enough jobs for the people who live here. We have a very ambitious target for jobs, but we just want to go back and see if we need to fine tune some of our policies, specifically as it related to the ratio. And then we're also looking at direction that the city council gave us in terms of eliminating the requirement for ground floor shops or retail in new housing developments, specifically those that are not on active business corridors. And then last is the urban village strategy. So urban villages are, we have roughly 60 areas around the city that we've identified that are either near transit or sort of near transit that we think would be great for mixed use housing or housing and jobs and redevelopment. And when we start that planning process, it takes a few years. There's lots of community outreach. We have an actual document. So we're looking at how we do that work and trying to identify ways to streamline it. So we have, for example, some urban village areas that are really small. They're essentially like 2 or 3 parcels, and it's a Nob Hill or a donut shop, and then maybe another site. So we're thinking of ways for those small ones to just make them more streamlined and not have to go through a long planning process. So this here just shows our schedule. We started this work. We went to council in June, got their approval for the scope of work. We're doing the background and continued analysis now through June, and also the public engagement process. Environmental analysis will kick off soon after June 2026. And all of our task force meetings for the general plan 4-year review are I don't have it here, but I'm happy to share, but we have them. We've had 2 so far. The next one is in January, and there'll be one in March, April, May, and June. And our planning commission serves as the task force. So these are public meetings. They're on, you can watch them on Zoom or YouTube or join us here in the wing. It's usually on a Wednesday evening. And we are hosting a virtual webinar on December 15th, just to give the public an update on our process, where we're going. And then we will have 4 open houses in the spring as well. So with that, we are open to any comments or questions, and we'd like to hear your feedback. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your report. This was definitely a very interesting one, and I really appreciate the way you decided to integrate our voices into this and allowing us to have the chance to ask questions. Personally, this is one of the topics I am super passionate about. I really do love urban planning, so I appreciate you coming here and giving us your time. All right, do we have any public comment?
We
You may
have
come down
one.
and speak. Down here.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I'm a leader in our Troop 610 Scout Troop, so it's a great opportunity for our scouts who are here tonight. They're working towards a merit badge, citizenship of community, and thank you for sharing the general plan. It's eye-opening for us to be here, but I'm curious, as you're proposing the plans to increase density, urban building, et cetera, are you also considering the effect on traffic and how would it affect like parking in those areas? I'm asking because I'm seeing some increased traffic in our neighborhood too. So yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for for that comment and a great question. Yes, transportation and all of these are connected to each other. And yes, as we are looking at the density, there would be we would be looking at the transportation impacts of it. Parking may not be addressed at the general plan level. As I was talking earlier, general plan is a very high level policy document, but transportation is definitely connected at this point.
All right, thank you. Do we have any more?
No, we don't.
All right. I will now open the floor for commission discussion. To kick us off, I do have a question of my own. Recently, we got a report from the Valley Transportation Authority on their plans for the next 15, 20 years, and they talked quite a bit about creating multi-use transportation hubs. And I'm wondering, when you say you want to create these urban villages, and you're currently in the planning stages, correct? How much of this planning are you doing in collaboration with the VTA's plans, or have you not reached the point of talking to them and collaborating on it yet?
That's a great question. We work with other agencies, other regional agencies as well, and then there is like a cascade of plans. For example, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, which is which is the Bay Area's regional commission, and then VTA, Valley Transportation Agency, is another one. So their plans are kind of cascades with each other, and we definitely look at those plans. We are in communication with them as well on different levels, asking for details, other information, but also these plans are already, many of these plans are already in place. So for example, we know where those stations are going to be or are located, or what kind of transportation options are going to be available in the next few years or next few decades. So those are all taken into account in that form or fashion in our planning. I also want to clarify that the urban villages are already planned in San Jose. So we have 60 urban villages that were identified as part of the original, when the general plan was adopted in 2011. And part of those urban villages get specifically planned over time, but we have like 60 identified. What we are doing right now is rethinking whether all 60, what would be a strategy for planning the ones that are not planned, what would be a good strategy, an efficient strategy. And also, is there any change that needs to be done in all those? These urban villages have been planned taking into account the transportation plans of the region, including VTA's plans. Does that answer your question?
That answers it perfectly. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Babu.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this presentation. It was super insightful. Just really quickly, this is, I guess, a concern I have. So as AI becomes more prevalent in our society, I think the more obvious consequence is the, creation or like the building of new data centers in our areas. And I'm pretty sure data centers have bad environmental impacts on the neighboring communities and the water quality and air quality of the houses that are nearby. So does this general plan's housing policies predict and work around where these data centers might be and like how it could potentially affect water quality of residents? And this is a second question, kind of ambiguous, but are you guys, when you guys do the environmental analysis next year, are you guys going to do an environmental analysis of houses that are already existing next to data centers too as well, or no?
As I just going back to my presentation, as I was talking about different types of land uses. So, we think about like data center is an industrial use, for example, and how those uses coexist with, say, residential use or other uses is something we definitely look at whenever we are making any changes to the plan. Now, general plan again is a higher level document. We do not always go into that detail of where a data center would be built, but we look at definitely where industrial uses are there and how that could coexist with residential uses. And when we are going to do environmental review next year, the CEQA analysis, we call it usually, yes, we would then look at what could be the impact of, again, industrial uses on residential or vice versa, but not to the level of data center. Do you want to add anything, Ruth? Or
Yeah, I was just going to say that we're not, the work that we're engaging in right now has nothing really to do with data centers. So there wouldn't be that level, like we're not looking at policies to effectuate them or to encourage them. But to Sanhita's point, when there is that change, then we would evaluate that in the CEQA process, the environmental review process.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Oh, well, during the I see 2023 and 2024 annual report, I see that like in housing we have really low when it comes to 23 through 2019. And I just want to like ask, do you guys ever check the how it's going in the middle of those 4 years between every report just to see if we have like a really low spike in like this is a really low, what can we do to fix it at the moment instead of waiting for the 4 year to look at it and then evaluate it after?
that's a great question. I wish I had the answer though. So, housing, oh, you want to? Okay.
So we actually do look at these numbers every year. So we don't wait for the 4-year review. We have a team within the planning division and they collaborate with the housing department and they put together this annual report where they look at the number of permits issued, the number of units constructed, and then by income level. And at the same time, those same team sort of planning and housing along with other departments. We have what's called the Housing Catalyst team. So it's interdepartmental. They've been, I think, formed maybe since 2018, 2019. And they were tasked initially to figure out a way to develop or find 25,000 new, housing units. But as part of that work, they also looked at, what can the city do to incentivize, to make sure that we're building more housing, whether it's reducing fees, reducing processing time, finding more funds for affordable housing, those kinds of things. And so that team still meets, and usually in March, I think, they present to the city council their Housing Catalyst annual work plan, achievements, sort of what they're going to do the next year, along with these numbers on housing.
Thank you.
Commissioner Deschmuck.
For First of all, I want to say thank you for your presentation. I think we can definitely use a lot of this stuff from this plan and our goals for the next few years in Youth Commission. And I was especially interested in the goal about housing. And I was wondering how you plan to balance developing open spaces in order to increase housing, along with preserving it for conservation purposes and preventing overcrowding.
So if, I will say if it's currently designated open space, whether it's a park or hillside, we are not going to plan to put housing there. You know, we actually have very strong policies in our general plan that prohibit building more within like, our hillsides, if it's a certain slope. Some of our park areas are open space. They actually have restrictions. You can't necessarily like build housing on them. So what we're looking at and sort of our approach is to look at, you know, places near transit, places near bus line, maybe where we already have growth, and just kind of upping the density versus going from complete, you know, obviously open space to residential. We are not proposing that.
All right, thank you for your response. Commissioner Yu.
Okay, so first I want to say thank you for your presentation. It was really interesting. I wanted to ask about like urban villages. Like, what does that look like? Like, are they like mixed use homes, or you have like homes on top and then like ground floors, like stores? Or are they like, you know, like Main Street Cupertino, where they kind of like stores around and then like apartment buildings kind of in the back? Like, what do urban villages like look like?
Yeah, sure. So urban villages are planned to be mixed use neighbor, like villages, if you will, you know, where you can live and work in the same, you know, or have all the services, retails, and maybe even jobs in a smaller area, so you don't have to travel to a longer distance for any of these services or any of these functions. Now, they could look very different depending on the urban village. And we have 13 of our urban village planned, and they have, they allow like different types of housing and commercial development, how the urban design would look like. So Santana Row is, for example, one of our urban villages, and around that area. So that'll give you an example. Downtown is not really called an urban village, but it's kind of another example of very mixed use kind of area. But these two are very different, right? How they look. So this is kind of an example to tell you that how these are very different from each other. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and also to follow up, so like when you're saying that you're like planning more like urban villages, is that like changing zoning in like residential areas to allow these to be built, or like what does that look like specifically?
Yeah, that could, you know, we are in the process of analyzing, you know, whether we are going to add more urban villages or not. But I can tell you that back in 2011, when they added all these urban villages, these were residential or commercial areas, unused commercial areas that were converted into these ideas of urban villages. So if we did that, that probably could be an option. But I don't think we are thinking about adding more urban villages at this point. We might be densifying some of those, maybe making them a little bit larger if needed, or the buffer areas between the existing urban villages and say existing single family homes right outside. You know, what can be done to those buffer areas? That could be, these are some of the things that we are looking at, but we're still analyzing all of that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. As you can probably tell, we're very curious. We have a ton of questions, and I think we have about 3 more people, if that's okay with you guys. All right, next up, we have our Vice Chair, Commissioner Pradeep Kumar, who would like to ask a question.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's really clear how much the city's long-term urban planning will shape services and opportunities available to our community, and especially, you know, to our youth, as, you know, San Jose grows population-wise, infrastructure-wise. And with that, I have one question. So with the future housing growth and increasing residential capacity, like plan that was outlined, more families will obviously be moving into these areas. So my question is, how is the city coordinating with local school districts to make sure school capacity and facilities and student services as well keep up with the population increases that could be expected in like urban villages or housing areas?
We coordinate with the schools just like we coordinate with other agencies at the same time. But we also, during the environmental review process, there would also be, we'll be looking at all the other services, not just schools, but all other services. How are they, going to be impacted by this proposed change in capacity or increase in capacity? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure. I wanted to add, Ruth reminded me that on a regular basis, we get questions from the school districts about the residential development that have taken place, for example, in a given year. And that data helps them plan their capacity for upcoming, for future enrollment. So that's kind of another way we constantly keep working with the school district and other agencies.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, next question, we have Commissioner Park.
Thank you for your presentation. My question to you is there a set or do you guys have a guaranteed estimate of housing prices? And are these housing prices going to be affordable enough for residents to reside in?
Yeah, I can I can start and Ruth, you can add to it. This proposal is this work that we are doing is about adding housing capacity. So it's literally in terms of numbers and the types of housing, like maybe what type of density and where they would be located. Housing prices determined more by the market. And city's role is to plan for housing. City actually doesn't build housing or have like limited capacity in influencing the housing market. So the answer to that question is we will not be, looking into that or be able to provide that answer. Ruth, do you have any addition? Okay, good. Okay.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I think that's all of our questions from our commissioners. I do have a short one, if we can keep it short, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I'm very curious about the fact that downtown was not covered in your presentation, because I know you mentioned that it is technically not an urban village, but do you guys see a future for downtown with it expanding into a larger urban village, or are you planning on starting at separate locations that may form their own districts?
Yeah, sure. I can take that. Actually, it's kind of a little bit unfortunately misleading how I maybe said there are only 60 urban villages and about downtown. So the general plan identifies what's called growth areas. These are identified growth areas with a capital G, capital A. And that's all over the city. And out of those growth areas, there are 60 urban villages. But downtown is considered as a growth area, which is kind of in a way higher level. It's a bigger area. It has more capacity, whereas the urban villages are much smaller compared to that. We have similar employment growth areas like North San Jose or in other parts of the city, but downtown is like a mixed use growth area. So it's already like there where we are. It's just not called an urban village, it's called the downtown. Ruth, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just to add to that is that downtown, as she said, is a growth area. We had sort of the Google West project, and there's a lot of capacity to build very high density buildings there. And then in downtown, we actually don't have height limits so long as they don't interfere with the airport operations, because the airport is just right north to us. But we've been planning the downtown for growth and density for many, many decades. So that's still continuing to be the case. We want to see lots of growth here because this is where we have the best transit as well.
All right, thank you very much. And once again, thank you for your presentation. I think that's all of our comments. Thank you. All right, moving on from the Budget Office's Deputy Director, Director Claudia Chang, we have an informational on the City of San Jose budget overview. I'd like to invite you down to speak.
Give me just a second to get settled in. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Claudia Chang, and I'm a Deputy Director in the City Manager's Budget Office. I am pleased today to provide you a budget presentation. First, we're going to play a game. It will be an interactive game where we will go over some key budget concepts. Next, we'll talk about the budget development policies and practices, then discuss what considerations are made when we develop the budget. And lastly, we'll go over the budget calendar, and there'll be a little bit time left for question and answer. Okay. Just a minute.
All right. While she prepares, if you want to scan that QR code, it will lead you to the quiz that we're having right now, okay?
Now, is this only for us commissioners or is this for the audience as well?
You guys can join as well. The more the merrier, as long as you have a mobile phone. And I'll kind of go over the rules in just a second. And I'm going to share my screen. But I'm not seeing the ability to share.
This is definitely very fun. We all know Kahoot.
Oh, good. That's great. Okay, I see. Join as a panelist. Okay, we're getting it. We'll be there. Okay. And I just need to be able to share it. Oh, I see it. Okay, we're there. Okay. Okay, there's the QR code. I'm waiting for participants. Oh, so let me go over the rules. So first we'll see how much you know about the budget. Well, you get to compete with your peers, so commissioners as well as members of the publics, to see who gets the most points. We're going to use an app called Kahoot. Please scan the QR code. If you get bumped out during the game, enter the game pin, which is located at the bottom of the slide once the game begins. A question will pop up on the screen, and then you'll have 30 seconds to answer it. Most questions have the answers provided, and you will choose which answer is correct. It will be specified if there is just one answer or multiple answers. Okay, so some of them have multiple answers. Choose the color or the shape that corresponds to your answer and then hit submit. That's really important because when you look on your mobile phone, all you'll see is the color and the shape. You won't see the specific answer. So you have to compare with the big screen and your mobile phone. There will be 10 questions that will generate points. The quicker you answer, the more points you'll get. But be careful since it's hit or miss if you can change your answers. After each question on your phone, you will see if you got the answer right and how many points you earned. On the big screen, you will see which answers the participants chose. There will be a scoreboard so you can see how well you're doing against your peers. Okay, I see 15 participants. That's really good. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to start with a sample question to kind of ease you into it, and then we'll see what happens. Okay. We're starting. San Jose's budget game. Have you used Kahoot before? And just pick one of the colors, yes, no, or maybe, not sure. You'll have 30 seconds to answer. Wow. I had no idea you guys use Kahoot in school. Okay, this is good. Okay, you guys are warmed up?
Yes.
Okay, next question. How much do you know about the city's budget? There's no wrong answer. Okay, it looks like 7 of you feel pretty confident about the budget. You know something about it. And then there's 6 of you that are, I'm still preheating the oven, which to me means you don't know too much about the budget, which is great because this is the point of this whole presentation. And then there's some of you guys, oh, there's 2 of you guys that say that you rule the kitchen and you can write a cookbook. Okay, I'll be looking for you guys. Let's get started. These are the questions that really matter. Which one of these best describes the budget? Whoa. The correct answer is it's a list of expenses and how you will pay for them. So the budget is a financial plan for delivering effective services and efficiently managing the resources that support it. The plan shows the source of revenues and how the funds will be used. Okay, let's see what the scoreboard tells us. Bradley, you're on top. Whoever that is. Okay, next question. True or false? The budget has to be balanced, meaning the money spent equals the money available. True or false?
I promise you behind the mics, it's all whispering, all laughs.
There's no money prizes. Okay, so you're probably thinking about the federal government, which definitely has a budget deficit. But for the local government, we are required to have a balanced budget, meaning the government collects as much, if not more, in taxes and other revenues than it spends. Otherwise, we're going to have a budget deficit, which means we are spending more than we take in. A budget surplus means that there's more revenues than expenditures. Okay, next question. Money bags. But David is pretty close at 1,816 points. Next question. An operating budget is blank. Click all that apply. Actually, all of them are correct answers. So an operating budget is a one-year plan that outlines the revenues and expenses for core day-to-day services. The city's operating budget is just under $5 billion and made up of general fund and special funds. The focus is always on the general fund, which is the fund used to track all general revenues and expenditures of the city, which are not restricted and are not considered special and capital funds. For example, San Jose's portion of revenues from property tax and sales tax are deposited in the general fund. Police and fire services, as well as neighborhood services provided at libraries and community centers, are mainly funded in the general fund. Unless the money is from a grant, most often the money in the general fund is allocated at the discretion of the city council. Special funds have a very distinct function or enterprise. The source could be from specific tax, license fees, or other earmarked revenue sources. Operations of the special funds are self-supporting, wherein the expenditures are offset by the revenue sources, and there's no commitment from the general fund. Examples of special funds are the San Jose Clean Energy Operating Fund and the Treatment Plant Operating Fund. Okay. David is still on the top here, but Moneybags is very close. All right, next question. A capital budget is, click the best answer. Okay, the answer is long-term plan to renovate, rehabilitate, expand the city's infrastructure. The city's capital budget is $1.5 billion and is a 5-year plan. Capital funds are used to track resources used to acquire, rehabilitate, construct city facilities or infrastructures. Most of the funds have restricted use. So common capital funds are like construction and conveyance tax. When you buy a property and it gets transferred from one owner to another, the treatment plant capital fund, which is used to rehabilitate or expand the treatment plant, public safety and infrastructure bond fund are examples of these types of funds. The neighborhood fire station being built in your neighborhood, the new police training center, or the new paved trail along the Coyote Creek are budgeted in the capital budget. The results are Moneybags is on top now. Next question. What amount is the San Jose's budget? That's great. That's great. So $6.3 billion is the amount when you combine the city's operating and capital budgets. The general fund is about $1.7 billion. Special funds make up about $3.1 billion, and capital funds make up $1.5 billion. The city has over 7,000 full-time budgeted positions and over 140 special and capital funds. Doing good, guys. What is the largest source of revenue in the general fund? Pick one. None of you guys got this answer correct. It's property tax. Believe it or not, there are over 450 revenue sources in the general fund. Property tax is about $537 million, is at the top of the list. Combined with sales tax, which is about $340 million, they generate about half of the general fund revenue. Property tax is mainly from secured property like homes, cars, business equipment, boats, land, and even valuable jewelry. The sales tax in San Jose is 9.375%, of which the city gets a little more than 1.25% of the tax collected, and the rest goes to the state and to the county. Another significant source of revenue is the fund balance. Think of this as a bank account where the money gets rebudgeted or carried over from one fiscal year to another to complete projects. Money is also rebudgeted so that we continue setting aside money for specific purposes like a contingency reserve, which is like a rainy day fund. A portion of the fund balance could be due to more revenue collected and higher expenditure savings than budgeted. Ooh, we have a new person at the top of the board. That's great, but Moneybags is still very close. Next question is, here are the general fund use by category. Which one is the largest use? Wow, about 7 of you guys got it right. The answer is public safety. Police and fire make up the largest category of expenditures at a cost of almost $900 million. The next highest would be non-departmental category, which is about $600 million, which is made up largely of earmarked reserves and citywide expenses that are buckets of money that are used for multiple departments for a specific purpose. We have other categories up there like community service departments, which are departments that face the community, that deal with the community, such as Parks and Rec, Planning, Build, and Code Enforcement, Library Department, Environmental Services. We also have general government departments that provide administration and management of the city. And they support the public safety and community service departments like City Manager's Office, Finance, Human Resources, Information Technology Department, and Mayor and Council. Capital maintenance departments are the ones that construct and maintains the city's infrastructure, such as Public Works Department and Department of Transportation. Here's the latest on our results. Moneybags is still in the lead. Check all the city service areas that apply. No. All of them are correct. There are 6 city service areas. All departments are organized into a city service area. The city service areas integrate services provided by departments into the city's 5 key lines of business. So that would be community, and it's all the city service areas except for strategic support, which is the teal color. Strategic support provides internal functions that enable other CSAs to provide services to the community. So examples of strategic support department would be finance, human resources, information technology, kind of behind the scenes. You may be familiar with council committees, which is how the council committees are organized. There are 5 council committees: Neighborhood Services and Education, NSE, Community and Economic Development, Public Safety, Finance and Strategic Support, Transportation and Environment, and Rules and Open Government Committee. We are nearing the end. All right, Moneybags is still on top, but someone may catch up. Which city service area does the Youth Commission fall under? Click the one answer. Okay, that for the 8 that got it right, it is neighborhood services. Okay, money bags, you're still on top. This is your last question. What are the city council focus areas? Check all that apply. It was kind of a trick question, to be honest with you. So the purpose of the city focus area is to hold the administration responsible for driving positive outcomes and performance on a very limited number of priorities, mostly impacting the community, and to generate actionable and measurable solutions to address these priorities. There are performance measures tied to each focus areas. So the tricky answer was the one on the bottom, which was the making transportation faster and more reliable. It's not one of the 5 focus areas, but it's still very important to the community. And the winners are money bags on top, followed by Ruby, and then Dolly.
So who is Moneybags? Really? Oh, wow, of course. Good game, good game.
Oh. Good job, money bags. Okay, so now back to the slide presentation. This is more of the factual stuff, which will be important to know as well. Let's see. Let's start with the slide, which is about budget policies and budget practices. So according to the city charter requirement for the budget development process, these are the different roles that the city manager, the mayor, and city council play in the budget development process. The city manager submits a budget request to mayor and council. The budget request, along with the 5-year forecast, is released in February. And the forecast takes a high-level look at the revenues and expenditures for the next 5 years and predicts if there will be a budget deficit or budget surplus. We build the upcoming year's budget based on this information. The city manager's budget request describes the general approach used in developing the upcoming year's budget and includes budget balancing strategy guidelines and outlines the process for council members to be involved in the budget process. They will submit budget documents to suggest ways to modify the budget. The budget balancing strategy guidelines is developed in the context of the 5-year budget. A budget deficit was projected last year, so the guidelines included directions such as looking at delaying the opening of city facilities to save money, expanding existing revenues, or adding new revenue sources because it was a budget deficit. But as always, the guidelines say to continue a community-based budget process where the city's residents and businesses are engaged and can provide feedback. So then we have the mayor, and the role that he plays, our current mayor's a man, he must deliver a budget message in March, which we refer to as a March budget message, to the city council that includes a statement of fiscal priorities for the following year. It talks about which departments, offices, or agencies the mayor proposes to expand or to receive budget reductions and specific recommendations concerning any proposed additions or deletions from the budget. The city council's role is to hold public hearings to consider the mayor's budget message and to make any revisions or changes to which the city council deems advisable. The city council's biggest job is to review, amend, and approve the city manager's proposed budget. Thank you. Okay, budget balancing considerations. The budget delicately balances many competing community and organizational needs while ensuring that the resources of all of the city funds remain in balance and are thoughtfully deployed. While the budget development process is informed by a variety of factors, the inputs shown are the key drivers that provide the strategic approach used. The mayor's budget message, which is in the upper left-hand corner, as approved by the city council, identifies the main investment priorities in the budget process and confirms the use of the budget balancing strategy guidelines that were identified in February. So there's usually the mayor's office, they release the budget message, there's a public hearing, and then there's a debate usually with council on items in the March message. Sometimes council will recommend making changes and the full council has to agree to this or not. And then let's see, we also need to take into account city council identified priorities as well as areas identified by the administration for additional investment or reallocation to address organizational risks and service delivery gaps. We have Council Policy 1.18 and the San Jose Budget Principles, which make sure that we use the best budgetary practices. And then grounding us all is the budgeting for equity. And so as part of the budget deliberation process, we need to consider equity. We need to think about how resources are allocated and consider in the decisions who is benefited and who is burdened by any budgetary actions or inaction. Budget development calendar. So this is the timeline where we're actively working on the budget from October to June. At the very top is community involvement. So community involvement means perhaps members of the public through their interactions with the mayor and city council, filling out community-wide surveys, attending public hearings, giving input on the March budget message, and also participating in budget hearings. But this is how members of the community can be involved with the budget. The mayor and council, they review and approve the prior year's annual report, which happens in October. In October, we look at each fund and how they performed and compare it to the budget, and we make budget adjustments on the current year. From January to March, mayor and city council may host town hall meetings, priority setting sessions, and review and approve the March budget message. From April to June, mayor and city council will hold study sessions to review the proposed operating and capital budgets, release budget documents, suggest ways to modify the budget, and approve the June budget message. Administration. The employees that are led by the city manager's office will present the annual report in October. And in December, we release a preliminary forecast that gives an outlook on the economy and projects if there's going to be a surplus or a deficit. From January to March, the administration prepares the city manager's budget request and 5-year forecasts and budget balancing guidelines. In addition, we review budget proposals and develop the capital and operating budgets. From April to June, the proposed budgets are released for operating capital and fees and charges report. The administration releases manager's budget addendums that provide detailed information based on specific requests from council that would impact the budget, or commissions such as the Youth Commission that every year provides a manager's budget addendum. The letter that you guys send to, I think, via the library department becomes a manager's budget addendum. So that is an official record. If you looked at the budget office website, you would see the MBA that gets generated on behalf of the Youth Commission. And then in June, The budget is approved and adopted, and that ends the process for that year. But throughout the year, there's always opportunities to adjust the budget accordingly, depending on new information that we receive, like maybe the economy is doing better or could be doing worse than we expected, and we have to pivot. But the budget is not a static document. It's constantly moving and pivoting to react. And that's my presentation. I'm open for any questions.
All right, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your presentation. That was definitely a key example of how city work can be made to adapt to youth audiences and on being fun as well. And we all know Kahoot, so that really was amazing. Also, we really appreciate the budget message in itself, especially since right now we will be working on our budget message for the mayor's letter, which will be in February this year. We have our budget summit, which is our event. And then me and Vice Chair Pradeep Kumar will be writing up our message. All right, do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
All right, the floor is now open for commissioner discussion. Do we have any commissioners who wish to comment? Commissioner Deshmukh.
Hello, first I want to say thank you so much for your presentation, especially the Kahoot. I thought that was really fun. And it definitely taught me I also need to do a lot more research into San Jose's budget and just like expand my knowledge on that as well. But one thing I do know is that last year I remember the budget being considered incredibly tight. I was wondering if there's any changes like or any signs of changes for the next upcoming year.
We're working on our preliminary forecast right now, and it doesn't look like, it looks like we were on target with our projections for a year ago. When we made our projections, it looks like we're continuing down that path, if not the economy looking a little bit more sluggish. But come December, there'll be an official memo from the city manager. It's an information memo that will describe where we're at as far as budget deficit or surplus, and then guidelines on how to build the budget for the upcoming year. Like last year, there was reduction targets that were given to departments.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other commissioner questions? Commissioner Babu?
This is just something I'm wondering, but has the new presidential election or like the presidency affected our city's budget in any way, and how like big is the like effect of them?
We're still gathering that information, but I would not say that it's as big as an impact as we thought. For one thing, the city doesn't receive or rely as much on federal funds as maybe the state does. And so we're a little bit more self-sufficient in that area, but definitely there's impact on the tariffs, right? Because we see that our sales tax revenue has been changing.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I think that's all for our questions. We really appreciate your presentation, and have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to our next item, which is item number 4D, which is an action item, the Youth Commission Youth and Young Adults Priorities Survey. And so basically, we as commissioners are going to be voting this in so that we can officially release our survey tomorrow. I'll give you guys a not so quick rundown on how we're going to do it this year. All right, so first of all, our survey is planned to run until January 20th. It'll be open from tomorrow until then. From January 20th to our budget summit at the end of February, we will be collecting data and analyzing them. But we added some new questions this year compared to our usual survey. And for those in the audience who don't know about this survey, it is our annual budget survey, which we sent out to all of the youth in San Jose, and we collect youth priorities. We ask questions about education, community, schooling, different things, maybe social aspects as well. And then we take that data, we create graphs and all these different presentations. We present at our youth budget summit, which is in February, and you guys are all invited to attend. And after that, we use youth there to vote on what they think their highest priorities should be. Using that, we send a message to the mayor to influence the budget for the next fiscal year. All right, and so for this year, we added more questions on placemaking, which was one of our priorities for our work plan. as well as immigration, comfort, and safety of the residents. And so a few examples of those questions, I have some. Never mind, I have the survey from 2024, so I do not have them right now. But do we have any questions from commissioners about any of the details?
Can we get public comment first before we go to questions and
Yes.
discussion?
Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't.
Perfect. Any commissioners? Okay, well, I think I've covered everything, including the dates. I do want to say, last year we had 400 responses, and this year I'm expecting more. We're hoping for 500, 600, maybe more. It's pushing it. But we have incentives to do the survey as usual. We have AirPods. I think that's it for this year, just AirPods. Yeah. Those usually go really well. We have a lot of responses. So what I need from you guys is I need you guys to promote this in every place possible, at your schools, with your YACs. Ask your YAC members to promote as well. We have our flyer over here with the link. And if you guys can send that out everywhere, including those in the audience, we'd very much appreciate it. And then later on, probably in January, we'll have our signups for the actual budget summit sent out. All right, that's it. We will now move on to voting to approve the Youth Commission Youth and Young Adults Priorities Survey. Do we have a motion to approve?
I, Commissioner Park, motion to approve.
Do we have any seconds?
I, Commissioner Babu, second to approve this motion.
Please vote on your screens. All right, this motion passes unanimously. Moving on to our next section, we have reports and informational only. First of all, we have our presentation from Lauren Box on the Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services, which is online.
Yes. Good evening, members of the public and commissioners. Thank you so much for having me this evening. My name is Lauren Box, Recreation Superintendent with the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. I first want to say thank you guys for conducting that survey. If you are open to it, I would love to help put out the word to all of our youth in San Jose that participate in our program, specifically in our teen centers and our youth centers. So we'll be sharing that out later this week before the holiday. But with that, this is a brief update on behalf of the department. So we are getting into a recruitment season for us. A lot of key things for the summer season. It sounds odd given that it's November. But as you can see here, the list is quite extensive and likely will be growing as we return from the Christmas holiday. Specifically want to call attention to our summer hiring that will take place or start taking place in January. Is typically when the application comes out for positions like our community service aide and our recreation leader and lifeguards as well. So for those that are looking for a part-time summer job, this season should be a summer to remember and a lot of great opportunities throughout San Jose. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. But of course, I will share it with the commission as we get closer to that. But there are other opportunities available. So our folks out at Family Camp who have taken a break this past summer to do some major renovations up at Family Camp in Yosemite are hiring for a position of their recreation program specialists. And then our longtime general manager at Happy Hollow Park and Zoo is going to be retiring. So congratulations to her. So they're looking for somebody to join their ranks along with the zookeeper as well, and looking for instructor to support our older adult fitness programs in our community centers. As a friendly reminder to the commissioners and members of the public listening in tonight, the 2026 scholarship application is now available. This application is available in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and traditional Chinese. Really want to make sure that our community is aware of the scholarship program for those that meet the qualifications. And there's an extensive list of materials that you can provide. that show proof of eligibility, and that's all on our website. And so more of that can be looked at there. But with the summer season upon us, like I mentioned, registration for those summer camps, specifically for those that are scholarship eligible, is going to take place at the end of January, the 28th. That scholarship is only awarded in person starting the 28th. It's about a week and a half long period that the department has designated specifically for our families that are scholarship eligible. So please make sure to tell your friends and your family of this opportunity. If there are any questions, they can reach out to their local community center, and they'll be more than happy to assist. As always, we're looking for feedback within the recreation division of PRNS. And so this survey helps us to understand, right, what the community is looking for, what their interests are, so we can curtail our programs and services accordingly. This survey is available, in, again, the 4 languages, English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. So we're asking folks to let us know. We are checking this on a periodic basis, but we'll be open for several more months. So if you haven't had a chance, please share your thoughts with us. Oops, it looks like something got cut off. My apologies. But this was supposed to showcase all of the great holiday events that we have coming up in the month of December. All of our local community centers are going to be hosting a very unique array of holiday events, everything from breakfast with Santa to gingerbread house making to a Grinchmas cookie decorating, to a elves obstacle course over at Southside Community Center. There are a few free events listed in this table here, and then some of them do have a fee associated with them, but we'll make sure to update the table so you guys have a clear shot of all that information. But some of the events are starting as early as the 6th of December, going all the way through till the 21st of December as well. So more information or comprehensive and visible list is available on our department social media page, Instagram, and Facebook as well. Like I mentioned, our friends at Family Camp in the Parks Division are reopening Family Camp. They've completed several months of extensive work getting the camp ready for visitors this coming summer season. So reservations for the 2026 season will open on January 10th at 9 a.m. for residents specifically. And then just a few days after, on the 24th of January, again at 9 a.m., it'll be open for all other guests. So this year, the registration or reservations at Family Camp might look a little bit different if you've been there before. So we want to make sure that folks are aware and can plan accordingly. They've migrated over to the platform that we use in the recreation and other parks amenities for registering for classes and activities and things like that. So folks that haven't used that platform might want to set themselves up on an account, get themselves situated prior to the registration time, so they can avoid some challenges, because new things can be difficult, as we all know. Also within our parks division, again, our volunteer management continues to host their Sunday series at the parks across all their cities. A more up-to-date list of all of those events are available, so folks looking to either give back to San Jose or looking to chisel away at some of their volunteer hours, this is a great opportunity, one, to get outside, do something different, but also beautify our beautiful city. Speaking of beautifying our beautiful city, our neighbors in the Community Services Division are going to be partnering back up with the South Valley YMCA next month, in District 8 specifically, on December 18th and December 19th for a 2-day dumpster event. As we always tell folks, the event is scheduled from 8 a.m. to 11:30, but that's really only until the bins are full. So once the bins are full, right, that could be at 9 a.m. So want to remind folks to, if they're planning to go, get there early so that they can properly dispose of their belongings in a great and safe space. And speaking of disposing of items, as a reminder to everybody, 311 app is available for folks wanting to report, illegal dumping, graffiti, potholes, or other issues that they're seeing around the city. Those are looked at regularly and were responded to. And so that really helps us stay on top of any blight that we see throughout the city. And last but not least, as a reminder to everybody, we are on all of the major platforms of social media: Instagram, Facebook, X, Nextdoor, and YouTube. So if you haven't already given us a like and a follow, please do that. But with that, I have nothing else to add unless there are questions from commissioners or members of the public.
All right, thank you so much. We really appreciate your presentation. We do not have questions since it's an informational, but we will now move on to our next presentation from our very own senior librarian, Miss Megan Malloy. Yes.
Thank you. So I'm doing the library report today. On November 5th, Mayor Matt Mahan announced the AI for All San Jose initiative at the GovAI Coalition Summit. AI for All is a new citywide initiative in partnership with OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic to increase public access to artificial intelligence learning and training opportunities at the library and beyond. To learn more about AI for All and the library's current AI programs and services, visit www.sjpl.org/AI. During the month of November, San Jose Public Library is celebrating the rich history and culture of Native Americans by offering a variety of events, including story times and arts and crafts. Additionally, the library's blog team published a series of informative blogs and reading recommendations centered on Native American culture. To access the blogs and event listings, please visit sjpl.org. The San Jose Public Library and SJSU King Library invite you to join us in supporting over a dozen local authors in our 13th annual Local Lit event on Saturday, January 24th from 2 to 4:30 p.m. at the King Library. Enjoy light refreshments and snacks while listening to authors share their stories and experiences in writing and publishing their work. Authors will also host a Q&A session, and they'll have copies of their books for sale. This event is free and open to everyone. For more details, including a list of participating authors, please visit sjpl.org/locallit. The winter holidays are almost here, which means the San Jose Public Library's winter reading program is fast approaching. From December 1st to January 4th, readers of all ages can participate by logging 4 hours of reading or logging 4 books read to qualify for grand prizes, including games, toys, and electronics. And I think for teens, it's like a little portable printer. So I know y'all carry digital cameras now and you can print them. Okay. There are also prizes available for simply registering for the program. Learn more at sjpl.org/winter reading. Like, you guys can get a free book. Upcoming library closures. Thanksgiving holiday, this Thursday, November 7th to Friday, November 28th. We will be open on Saturday. The Christmas holiday, Wednesday, December 24th to Thursday, December 25th. And New Year's Day, Wednesday, January 1st. The library's online collection, e-learning resources, and streaming services are always available at sjpl.org. Thank you.
All right, I think we're all good. Thank you, Miss Megan. All right, so moving on to the next item, I will be giving my chair report for the commission. All right, so everybody, I'm very proud of you guys. Over the last few months, I've seen a ton of YAC meetings, a ton of project proposals, and a ton of work being done. I think you guys have been doing very great, and I'm really proud of you guys. A few reminders: please schedule your one-on-ones with Emily on time so that we can get things going and that things don't get stuck along the way when we have logistical stuff. Also, I do encourage you to attend the joint meeting between the city and council officials, which is on December 10th, as Councilmember Campos mentioned earlier. It's a really good event to see, especially because of our tentative collab with the Santa Clara County Youth Task Force. And then also, we have a YAC social on 13th of December at Burlingame Community Center that is being held by a Tri-County youth organization. So if you guys are interested in going to that, I do recommend going to that. You have to RSVP by December 3rd. And then finally, the Education Ad Hoc will have a meeting in December. For those of you who are on it, please keep an eye out for a Let's Meet. And then also Immigration may or may not also have a ad hoc meeting. That is it for my report. Good job, everyone, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. All right, moving on to the commissioner reports per district. We have District 1.
Okay, so regarding what I'm doing in District 1, we are going to be hosting a daffodil planting event sometime in December, where we're going to be working with the District 1 leadership group and the District 1 council office to plant daffodils near Moordock Park or the new Saratoga Creek Trail. And basically, what we're planning to do for that is just plant them during the season where it might be easiest for them to grow, and bringing some YAC volunteers and students from around the area to help us plant them. So that should be a really fun event. And if you guys can make it too, then that'd be really fun. Along with that, we are planning YAC meetings throughout 2026. I haven't decided yet if we're going to have one during December, especially since I don't want to interfere with finals week, or I'm not sure if YAC members would come during that time. But yeah, I would love to have any advice of what you guys are doing in December as well. Regarding communications, I want to be posting more short form content and interactive stories, which I think could get more engagement. For example, the short form content that I posted right before this meeting has reached around 700 views by the time, like 2 hours later. So I'm thinking that could definitely help increase engagement with our youth audience. And yeah, I want to definitely be doing more of that when going through with this. So thank you.
All right, District 2.
Okay, hi everyone. I have a couple of updates from the past couple of months. So regarding the community and placemaking ad hoc, we're currently working on a mural project, and we are collaborating closely with the District 2 office to go forward with that. My YAC had the opportunity to meet and discuss with Councilmember Campos this past weekend, and they had the opportunity to engage in discussion regarding issues prevalent to District 2. My YAC is also working on a youth-focused culture fest in collaboration with District 1 and District 9. This is an event to highlight school cultural affinity groups and performance groups. And this event will also share the same location as the District 7 Creative Futures Fair, which is set to happen in March. Aside from that event, the District 2 YAC is also working closely with the District 2 Neighborhood Leadership Council. And we plan to attend one of the general meetings happening soon to see how we can get more young people involved with our neighborhood associations in District 2. And I just wanted to reiterate, Councilmember Campos and Marion mentioned that there's a joint city council and county board meeting happening on December 10th at 10 a.m. I know it's a school day, but I invite all the commissioners to read the agenda, which will be posted before, and we'll forward that to you guys, and also to watch the live stream when you're free. You can watch it on the City of San Jose YouTube channel. And if I'm not wrong, one of the key points the City Council will be mentioning is the Children and Youth Services Master Plan, and that'll also have a focus on youth experiencing homelessness. And also general reminders, please text Marion and I to add your meetings to the Youth Commission general calendar. That way all of us are in the loop for when your YAC meetings are, and it's easier for our supervisor, Emily and Megan. Thank you.
District 3.
We have a few things for my district. We just had our final neighborhood cleanup for the year, since we don't want families to be out in the cold during December and just picking up trash. So we actually are having a party for volunteers that put a lot of time and effort into the cleanups, and we're giving them like rewards for like all the time they've spent with us. We also have some things with neighborhood associations. There's a program that's giving free trees to people in District 3 for Christmas, and I went to one of the neighborhood associations near where I live, and I basically told them all about what the Youth Commission does, what I'm there to do for them, and how they can come to me if they need to address anything in the bigger side. I'm also setting up youth or YAC meetings for the year of 2026, just seeing how I can implement them more into what I'm working on and how all the stuff is going to plan out. But yeah.
District 4.
Okay, awesome. I also have a couple updates regarding project proposals. I think I sent in about 3, but I actually have 2 more that I want to send in, so it's perfect that we didn't review them today. But the first one is a winter clothing drive. I don't know if it'll be winter, but by the time we do it, but it's going to be a clothing drive among a couple of schools and a couple libraries. And I'm still working on finalizing the dates with my YAC members for that one, and it's going to be in collab with District 2. And the second one is a project proposal for my environmental committee, and they're going to do a career environmental career webinar, and it's going to be in collab with District 1. And then another one is identifying intersections and bigotries and stuff like that. And it's going to be racial equity and social equity focused. And that's going to happen hopefully 2026 February. And it's going to be collabing with District 6. And then I'm also working on the AIM project proposal. So I'm going to send that one in very soon. Hopefully AIM can be happening around the same time as last year again. If not, we might have to push it back or make it a little bit earlier this year. And the third one or the fifth one is a transportation team. They wanted to do a field trip style event to introduce the VTA system. And yeah, thank you.
District 5.
Yeah, hi. As for me, we have I have one project proposal, which I know we're not accepting project proposals this time, so that would be moved up. But for that, it would be a culture fest. We started planning this about a couple weeks ago. We got in contact with some local group dances. So we got in contact for a Vietnamese group, a Folklorico group, as well as reaching out to community organizations to come and table. But that date would probably be pushed for January. We were hoping to do it in December, but now knowing the date's pushed back, that would probably be in January. So I have that coming up. I put out YAC leadership applications now, so now I'm in the midst of reviewing that. A lot of the YAC members were interested in doing that. As for like their college applications, they wanted some sort of like leadership position. So that's what I've been up to. And then we've also have started doing red card outreach in East San Jose neighborhoods. So we've gone out to a couple neighborhoods and then handing out red cards as well as we can, talking to neighbors about their rights and everything going on with the community and what's up with immigration right now. And just something else, Councilmember Ortiz is actually up for re-election. So he just launched his re-election for 2026 campaign. So that's something that I've been working on and something exciting as well with the district. But other than that, that's it for me.
All right, thank you. District 6.
Hi, everyone. So a couple of things going on. About a week ago, I volunteered with the District 6 office staff at Evans Lane, like a living center for people currently unhoused. And we served a Thanksgiving meal, which was pretty nice. My YAC was going to attend too, but District 6 the office ended up having enough volunteers, so they didn't need our YAC to come, but hopefully we'll have another volunteering opportunity with them soon. With Akshata and I, we're going to be doing the intersectionality event in January. And finally, my YAC has been planning on December 6th. We're going to meet and go around to different VTA bus stops and report on them to to council member Mulcahy and to the VTA. Thank you.
District 7.
Okay, hi everyone. Yeah, so for District 7, we've been having consistent YAC meetings and we have finalized 2 workshops that we want to do centered around one of them is about civic education and substance abuse guides, and another one is centered on college career pathways, and we plan to collaborate with District 1 on both of those proposals. We are also thinking about sharing the space with District 1, District 2, and District 9 for the Culture Fest. The District 7 is currently in the talks with Yerba Buena High School, specifically their Key Club, to secure the space, and we look forward to sharing the space and kind of figuring out the logistics for that. But we kind of had a very good discussion, and we realized that it would be the best option to share the space, but separate the two events so that they maintain their focuses and purpose for youth entrepreneurs and cultural groups and affinity groups respectively. And yeah, that's basically what we've been doing. Also, to reply to your question, I'm actually not doing any in-person meetings for my YAC in December just because of finals. So yeah, but virtual meetings, yes.
All right, District 9.
Okay, so for my YAC, like a lot of our work has been focused on the Culture Fest. We've been looking into I have a good range of like members from different schools. So we've been looking into like groups, like affinity groups and clubs at those schools who might be interested in coming and performing or tabling. We're also doing like preliminary research regarding like a proposal, not project, policy proposal that would require like SJPL and like San Jose community centers to provide red cards for everybody. And then I also met with Vice Mayor Pam Foley recently, and me and my YAC will likely be helping her out with setting up some new like interim housing sites in D9. Yeah, that's all.
District 10?
Hello. So MIAC, we've had monthly AVCA meetings, which have been very efficient, and we've gotten a lot of praise for that. And also, we were working on our Almaden Lake Park monthly cleanups. We're in talks with Lillian, and we're gonna get that set up pretty soon. Also, I'm planning on the tree planting with District 9. We have yet to hold a joint YAC meeting, but that's what I going to propose. And also, we were invited to the District 10 Leadership Coalition to speak. Not a lot of us can attend the December 6th meeting, so we're gonna attend the first one next year. And then also a Youth Connect event with Councilmember Casey that's still going underway, and more details will show up for that. We're working on our website for District 10, and then I'm planning on tightening up on the attendance and focusing on member recruitment as well. Final touch would be that I may partner with Fire Battalion Chief Mark Thomas in a YAC event. I'm not sure which one yet, but we'll get to that.
All right, thank you. For my citywide report, I don't really have much to report. Mostly just want to be discussing some of the things that's been happening with the commission on my side. So primarily, I've been working on getting our collab with the Santa Clara County YTF going. We've had some setbacks there, and the discussions have been long, lengthy, talking about stuff. But right now, our stance is that our collaboration may or may not be working out this fiscal year. We'll really just have to see how the dynamics play out, but that's primarily what I wanted to talk about in my report. All right, moving on to the next item. Do we have any items for future commission meeting agendas? Do any commissioners want to add any? Is that a yes, Commissioner Huynh? Commissioner Pradeep Kumar.
We wanted to add a proposal for a joint culture fest with District 1, District 2, and District 9. Actually.
All right. Do we have to vote on that, or will it be added? Okay, that will be added to our next month's agenda. All right, I will now move on to our next item, which is meeting schedule and agenda items. Our next Youth Commission meeting is next calendar year on Monday, January 26th, 2026, right here in City Council chambers. Moving on to Section 7, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I, Commissioner Park, motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do we have any seconds?
Commissioner Sanchez seconds.
Please vote on your screens. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 8:20 p.m.